It's Monday 28th of February, early evening, just after 5 o'clock. It's been a lovely sunny day here today. Slightly cool, but as you can tell by the fact I'm wearing a t-shirt, not that cold. It's about 10 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to go for a run. This is the Westduinpark near the Hague, and I'm going to cross the tram tracks in about 1 kilometre and go into the Westduinpark, and just go for a trail run loop for about 45 minutes or so. There are a little bit of company on my run, Highland cattle that frequent the dunes. So we've been, so our household has finally been afflicted directly by coronavirus. My better half Deb has tested positive yesterday after having flu-like symptoms. So she's isolating now. Did a lateral flow test in the morning and then did a confirmatory PCR test at the Kijkduin test centre, the local health services test centre, and it came back fairly quickly, actually, in a few hours in the evening, to say it was indeed positive. And then they phoned up today to check on her and make sure she realised that she had to isolate. And the rules now are, if you've been boosted, so you've had your, by the way, we've both been vaccinated and boosted. The rules now are, if you do get a positive test and you've been boosted, then you only need to isolate for 5 days, providing you're symptomless on the 5th day, so you can then come out of isolation on the 6th day. So it's effectively a whole week. If you've still got symptoms, then you need to carry on with a full 10 day, which anybody who's not boosted will have to do anyway. So I've been testing myself. We've got the apartment segregated, or to some extent. We can both wear masks, and yeah, so I've been testing myself as well. I've had negative tests so far, haven't had any symptoms. And under the rules, if you've had a booster, your 3rd jab, then you don't need to isolate unless you have symptoms. So the moment I get any symptoms, I will have to isolate as well. But just to be nice to be out running around, not wearing a mask in the open air here in the dunes, just trying a slightly different route, harder route, because it's on this soft sand. So you can see here, got a lot of areas that they've designated off to make sure the ecosystems in the dunes are well preserved. That's one such area, and then lots of different eco areas, little oases of life are in these dunes, very varied, because it's very dry, almost desert-like conditions in some parts. In other areas, very wet wetlands where there's big ponds or small lakes and so on. This happens to be one of the drier, sandier areas, so you can see this is a bit of a tougher way to run, but I wanted to just try this for a change. Lovely sunshine coming down, so sunset is now happening after 6 o'clock in the evening, so the longer evenings are beckoning us, which is rather nice after having the very early sunsets through the late autumn and early winter. Pandemic situation cases have carried on falling, hospital admissions and ITU admissions. Cases are still very high, but it's dominated by this Omicron variant that produces much less severe disease. So the numbers seem very high. Maybe with other times, there's about in the low 30,000s in both the Netherlands and the UK. Bearing in mind the Netherlands is about a quarter the size of the UK. So using those figures, approximately the case rate per day in Netherlands is around 200,000. 200 per 100,000. Sorry. In the UK is about 50 per 100,000. So very high rates, but much less severe disease. Most restrictions have been dropped now. Hence the isolation rules are a lot less strict. You know, you used to get a buzz on your Corona Melder, which is the equivalent of the NHS COVID-19 app, to tell you you'd been in the company of somebody who tested positive for more than 15 minutes, and then you'd have to isolate. But that is not the case now if you've been triple vaxxed, as I mentioned earlier. So here I come to the beach. I've just done this little cut through. See lots of cycle areas, places to park your cycle. This will be full in the summer. It's obviously a little bit empty at the moment in the winter, but you can see the park's still well used by runners and walkers and cyclists alike. So hopefully the situation is getting better, and obviously society's starting to look a bit more normal. Most people aren't wearing masks now in shops. There are a few, I included, particularly while I'm worried about being an asymptomatic carrier. So when I go out shopping, I do wear a mask. And yeah, hopefully things will get a little bit more normalised as the weather gets warmer, and of course the longer days help because of the light actually helps. I mean, one is it makes the days a little bit warmer, so you can open up the windows and get a lot more ventilation. But the other thing is, as well, the light will actually mean that the virus doesn't survive as long outside. So this is one of the consequences of the high winds, is the amount of sand that gets shifted. So this is actually a path, and this massive pile of sand that's got accumulated here. I have had to duck under two down trees in the woods on the edge of the dunes a little earlier, so we had another yellow warning on, that was Thursday. Otherwise it's incredibly still today for the first time in a little while. The other sign that things are starting to look a lot more normal from a running point of view is that the local park run in The Hague, the Westduinpark, has starting to get a few more tourists, people who travel around trying to hit different park runs around Europe, around the world, around the UK. So on Saturday I was volunteering, and we had a group from Sheffield, Huddersfield and Cardiff, and it was really nice to see people, crazy people, making this effort to fly over for a night or two in order to do the park run, have a look around, and then they skedaddle back. So it's obviously a sign that things are starting to get a little more normal. So I've got another couple of little hills to get up, and I'm going to head back, look at the sunset. Hopefully it should be happening behind me somewhere. And this will be about a 50-minute to an hour run. Probably doing quite slow because of going through the dunes. So it'll probably be about 8 or 9 kilometres, something like that, by the time I'm finished. I just really wanted to get out and stretch my legs and do a little longer run, really. So a bit of blossom coming out on the trees just to finish my run. As I come out of the dunes here by the tram junction in Downdorp, and I'm going to run down the side of the woods.